Difference between pinging with and without http:// I am trying to ping my website, http://www.example.com/ and it resolves to an unknown IP address and times out. But when I ping example.com, it works. What is it that I'm missing out here?
I am trying to ping my website this URL and it resolves to an unknown IP address and times out. The argument to ping is a hostname, or an IP address. So the following will all work. On the other hand, will not work as this URL is an HTTP Uniform Resource Locator URL, not a valid hostname, although part of it is a hostname. HTTP URL is made up of 4 parts. Scheme, always present. Hostname, always present. Path or stem, always present but sometimes is null. Parameters, optional. Ping will not normally recognize URLs as a valid destination hostname. Notes: not all URLs have the format mentioned above. A complete URL consists of a naming scheme specifier followed by a string whose format is a function of the naming scheme. The format of a URL is defined in the IETF specification Uniform Resource Locators URL. DNS hijacking. An exception to the above can happen if the DNS server, which resolves hostnames to IP addresses, is configured to return a valid IP address even if an invalid hostname is supplied. This can happen if an ISP is hijacking your DNS queries. From the answer why is ping resolving to an IP 198.105.254.228 for any random hostname that I type? By Michael Hampton. They are trying to be helpful by redirecting requests for non-existent domains to a white label service that provides search results and advertising, from which everyone but you gets a cut of the revenue. Fortunately, they do have a preferences page where you can supposedly turn it off.
When you run the ping command with a string that is not an IP address, it first needs to resolve the IP address of the host you are attempting to ping. When you run $pingexample.com, the DNS server returns the IP address of the server that hosts the website. However, when you prefix the protocol and path to create a standard HTTP URL, that is all sent to the DNS server to be resolved. So instead of the DNS server finding the record for example.com, it looks for the record http://example.com/, which is not a valid hostname. A lot of DNS servers will return with nothing. In that case, the ping command will just error out with a DNS resolution error. However, your DNS server returns the IP address 123.456.789.000. The address appears to be a suggestion service by Time Warner Cable to help users who mistyped the URL in their browser. But the ping command takes this literally and believes that the hostname http://example.com/, which is not a valid hostname, resolves to the address 123.456.789.000. The reason the ping command times out after that is because 123.456.789.000 does not respond to IP requests.
The HTTP:// stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol, the protocol used to access web pages. Pinging a server doesn't use HTTP, but instead consists of an IC, Internet Control Message Protocol, message, so the HTTP:// doesn't make sense in this context.
Why would you use ping anyway? It's not going to work if there is a firewall in the way blocking ping traffic. In my opinion, if you're going to test a web server, then it's better to use Telnet. Then you can test the host and the port it should be listening on. E.g., to test your web server, Telnet www.mywebserver.com 80 at the blank screen, type and get then enter, and you should get a pile of HTTP response back from the web server. E.g., HTTP:1.1400 bad request. This tells me that not only is the server up, but it's also listening and responding on port 80. I'd also expect any firewalls to let port 80 through to my web server. Similarly, Telnet also works for testing mail servers, FTP, and just about anything else.
Do you want to do something? Please consider subscribing.